shout out to you. We're going to be talking soon because I think I'd like to have him on the show. And he told me a story about his son who went on some sort of trip. I don't know. It was a camping trip or some sort of event or something kind of going on. And, he went to this week-long deal or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks kind of deal. It was a big bevent for this kid's life. And, they're reestablishing, reconnecting, and they're just having a conversation. Tell us about your time, how'd it go? And his dad asked him, he said, so I'm curious, what was the coolest thing or the funnest thing about, this experience that you had? Do you know what this little 18-year-old said?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I didn't have my phone the whole time. That is what he said. I'm telling you, John, I am getting very hopeful about the world's being saved by Generation Z.
Well, I
really
agree
am.
with you. I read
Gen
an
Z
article.
or Gen Alpha?
Gen whatever.
Alpha.
Alpha is the youngest one.
Oh, dear God.
They're intentionally not using their phone.
Right.
Which is wonderful.
Right.
Which also, as a parent of a young child, makes me nervous. Like, how am I supposed to get in contact with my kid if he needs me?
Oh, my God.
Have one of those little
parent
watches that they
No,
can
deal
wear.
with yourself, John. I'm going a different direction with this one. No, you deal with yourself. You calm yourself down. You have positive thinking in your own head, and you let this kid experience life.
We call the landline.
So we're not suffocating this kid. Yeah, yes, boy. That we just got a show topic.
I was talking to my mother, who is of a mature age.
Oh, yes.
And she said she worried about us, but we would go up in the mountains and and mess around and all that. And she had to pray sometimes that we didn't fall into a mine shaft or any, because I'm from southeastern Kentucky where there's a lot of coal mining.
Oh, yeah. I know the area well.
But that was, you're West Virginian, you
Right.
know that. So, but part of that is also trusting someone, and maybe that might be helpful, is to be able to
Developing trust.
trust and faith and and knowing, let's say, that significant other, that parent or partner trust you. And
It's scary, though, Victoria. I mean, we have gotten so attached to these tools
Right.
that has fundamentally changed the way that we relate. And unfortunately, I feel like in a lot of ways being, negative. So you might be fearful of how am I going to track my kid or keep him safe
I mean,
or know
I know
where
I
he's
say
at.
that, but we'd figure it out.
You'll
It'll be
figure it out.
fine.
But it's early on. I mean, the thing that I think I would say is that even early on, the first few years of life, you begin to realize, like, you're not going to be able to prevent this kid's scraped knee. And therefore, you really end up connecting more, empathizing more, sharing life experiences together more because you feel it more. If I just sit there and look at my kid on a family app, Life 360 was one of the first ones, and I check on him where he's at, good. Check on him again 2 hours later, good. Check him on again maybe an hour later because it's the first time he's been away for 8 hours. Well, you kind of already know what's going on. So are you connected to him?
Yeah.
Or what happens in that scenario when you have had zero contact for those 8 hours? They come home. Hey, now tell me about where you were. Tell me about what you did.
Same thing
Tell
in
me about
relationships.
how things went. Right?
If I text my husband throughout the day, every time something happens throughout my day, and he tells me every time something happens throughout his day in text message, then when we get home and like we're having dinner together or we're, sitting on the couch watching TV, like there is no tell me about your day. Yeah.
There's
like,
no connection.
oh my gosh,
You're
you
right.
wouldn't guess what happened to me today, and I get like,
I didn't think about it that way, but that's brilliant. And that's absolutely a fundamental fabric of our life.
yeah. So like I usually, unless it's like I need something from my husband, like right then and there, like I'm going to the grocery store. Hey, do we need anything? Kind of situation.
Maybe some
like,
information. Okay,
yeah.
too soon.
Like then we don't really like text and talk throughout the day. Like
Yeah.
he might send me a TikTok and I might send him a TikTok or something that I think he would laugh at. But other than that, like and I wouldn't necessarily say, I think it's half intentional, half just because we work obviously throughout the day, so we don't necessarily have time. But I do think part of it's intentional, at least from my side. I don't know about his, but from my side, because then we have more to talk about, like at home.
Right.
which is hilarious for us because it's not like we can go home and talk about our clients, but it does at least, even if other things happen throughout my day,
And no, we don't talk about our clients.
No, yeah, no,
That's
we don't.
right.
We try not. We definitely not. I mean, we hold all those
That's,
things in
my
strong
wife
confidence,
says, "Well, how was your day?"
but yeah.
And I just say, "Well, I saw a bunch of people."
Yeah, I
but
usually just talk
Davis-
about how many people I saw.
Yeah. Well,
So I
but
say
there's-
that it was exhausting.
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
it's
How were you feeling? What
exhilarating.
did you go through? What did you have for lunch?
But
what
I
was
get
your
what you're
drive
saying.
home like?
It's that opportunity to connect. If I get together with my friends and all we do is sit around and like play on our phones, which I get sometimes that's nice. I don't necessarily need to talk to you all the time, but like it does, you're missing out on that connectedness of like shared experiences and
Yeah, this technology thing is prevalent in our lives, and I never really thought about it that way, but routinely texting somebody decreases your level of empathy with each other. I think that's
Yes.
given our conversation, that's a true statement I wouldn't have thought before today.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would not have thought that before.
It's
our
like an
conversation.
inverse. In other
It's
words,
directly inverted.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, it's inverted.
yeah.
I'll go another further point with this insofar as I think a discussion point. I've often maintained I'm upsetting our therapy people today maybe from what I said before, but I have a concern, a developing concern about how medical field is getting stuck into a virtual reality realm that I don't think is best practice. That's my bold statement here. I feel like best practice. We used to talk about best practice a lot. What's the best way to do therapy? What's the best way to deliver a service? How do you
I
do
hadn't
this?
heard that term in about 10 years.
Has it been 10 years? Yeah.
Yeah. It's
We
been-
used to talk about that
Yeah,
a lot.
all the
no,
time.
yeah, they would talk about it when I was in grad school.
In grad school, you heard best practice, yeah. Well, I believe best practice is face-to-face therapy.
Mhm.
I mean, I do. I hate that. Upset people. I know that we love working from home, and a few people love my offering virtual, which I do. I have for a long time, actually, way before COVID. Many years I would do some virtual stuff, but I feel like it's a step down. So let's be clear. Face-to-face is best practice. There's a step down to video conferencing. I used to think there was a big step down to doing phone sessions where I wouldn't do it. I was opposed. And coronavirus taught me, the pandemic taught me that phone sessions are very effective. I was wildly surprised by that. I will do just phone
but
sessions
maybe
now.
part of that also was the fact that we were so stressed out with coronavirus that we were more willing to.
Well, yeah,
and
we
I
became
and I agree with
more
you. By
willing
the
to
way,
experiment, but
Yeah.
I think it's always been effective. I just didn't know it.
Mhm.
I'll own that.
I don't disagree
Well,
with you.
Yeah, and I can see where you're relating that into also like the medical field of like it can get kind of dicey if like especially when it comes to like prescribing medicine and like all these things and you're just going based off like a conversation that we have over video. I can see that you're not like looking at my body in person or touching the thing that I'm saying like, is wrong with me or examining it or
Yeah, I mean, you need physical
Even-
examination.
Even my psychiatrist, she'll do virtual sessions, but she will not do 2 virtual sessions in a row.
Oh,
So
wow. Love that.
If we do a
Surprise-
virtual session,
Awesome.
that's fine. But then
know
our
that-
next session has to be in person because then I got to pee in a cup.
I love that. Well, there's that too.
They,
yeah.
that,
And also so that way, like she can set eyes on me.
She monitors you of
Yeah.
all people with like,
I
does she
know.
not know who she's talking to? What are you talking about? But okay.
By the way, I don't disagree with you at all. I agree with you 100%. And one of which is that I had a doctor that was actually in person, and I don't know what the issue was, but I think it was from her as opposed to me. She wouldn't touch me when we did a physical examination.
Really?
No, I'm going like, come on,
You gotta look at my ears.
you got to look at my
right?
ears, up my nose, or stick out your tongue, or something. I'd do that,
Right.
and but she would be like 5 feet away,
Oh
and
my
so
goodness.
and
Interesting.
yeah.
How do you
and-
see the tonsils from 5 feet
Well,
away?
she let things slip. She didn't catch everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golly. And you know this because
I know this
your body.
my body, yeah, and so
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah, we got to get back to hugging people, guys. Touching, like
With
it's
their
okay.
consent.
Huh?
I said with their consent.
Well, obviously inappropriately, but like I don't know. It's just it's there's a sterilization that's gone on, and it's really affecting human relationships.